Namaste everybody. In the previous class, I explained some of the paragraphs of the story The Lost Child written by Mulk Raj Anand. So let us recap the main points of the story that we have already discussed. You have seen in this story that it was the season of spring and many people were coming out from their houses through the narrow lanes and they were going to the fair. And among them, there was a child. The child was very happy, he was very excited, and he was running between his father's leg. He was happy because he was going to the fair. And on the way, the child was attracted towards the toys and other things that were displayed in the stalls and small shops. He wanted to buy the toys, but when he told his father to buy them, his father refused to buy him. And in this way, the child was going to the fairs. So now let us come to the next paragraph. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. So here, throng means huge crowds, converging means gathering, and whirlpool means moving round and round. Fascinated means attracted, repelled means afraid. So here, as they were about to reach the fair, the child saw huge crowds of people walking from all directions towards the fair. The dense crowd scared him. At the same time, he was happy also, and he stepped back for a while. But the next moment, he got attracted to the fair. A sweet meat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child is scared, open eyes, and his mouth watered for the barfi. That was his favorite sweet. I want that barfi, he slowly murmured, but he half knew as he begged that his plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. Now, here let us see some of the difficult words. Headed means paid attention. Architecture means like buildings, design of the buildings, and murmur means spoke in a very low sound. At the entrance of the fair, to one counter, there was a counter of sweetmeat seller, and he was selling various sweets like gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, and jalebi. The sweets were displayed at different heights and were covered with leaves of gold and silver. The boy's mouth watered when he saw his favorite sweet, that was barfi. He expressed his desire to get one in a low voice because he knew that his request would not be fulfilled by his parents, they would say that he was greedy for the burfi, as he did not expect that his demand would be fulfilled. So he walked further. A flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. The next stall was that of a flower seller. He was shouting, and he was selling garlands of gulmohar flowers. So gulmohar here, it is a kind of flower. The child wanted one of those. He walked towards the basket of flowers and again announced his desire to have one in a low voice because he knew that his demand would not be fulfilled. They would refuse to buy him the flowers as they would say that they were very cheap, very dull, very bad. Again, the boy walked ahead without expecting a reply from his parents. Now, a man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys, so he walked on further. Now, overwhelming means very strong emotion. The next thing that the child came across was a balloon seller. He was selling balloons of different colors of the rainbow. The boy was attracted to the shiny colors of the balloons and wanted to have them all. He knew that his parents would not buy the balloons for him as they would give reason that he was too old. It means he was too younger to play with them. So the child walked further. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into the invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such a coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. So here let us see some difficult words. Forbidden means not allowed, coarse means unpleasant. So then the child stopped at a snake charmer who was playing a flute means bean, and the snake was twisting its necks to the music. It means the snake was shaking its head on the music of the flute. The snake had coiled itself in a basket and had raised its head out. It bent and moved its neck gradually like a swan, it means duck. It seems that the music of the flute was heard by the snake's invisible ears and created the effect of a waterfall on it because it all swayed its necks in a similar way. The boy walked towards the snake charmer, but as his parents had warned him to remain away from the unpleasant music played by such men like snake charmer, so he walked further. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children carried away in a whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. Now, here, let us see some difficult words. Here, roundabout means a swing. Dizzy means causing a spinning sensation. Intently means with full attention. So here, then the child saw the roundabout swing. It was full of men, women, and children who were enjoying the rides. The boy watched the people on the roundabout and then, with a lot of courage, he expressed his desire to go on the roundabout. So, here the boy also wanted to go on the roundabout, so he requested his father. Now, there was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. And when his parents did not reply, he turned towards them. He saw that they were not there. He looked around and behind, but his parents were not there. So, here, when the child requested his father that I want to go on the roundabout, there was no any response from his parents. And when the child saw here and there, he could not find his parents. Here, you will see that now the child is lost in the fear because he was alone near the roundabout. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in a real fear. Mother, father, tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fires. His flushed face was convulsed with fear, panic stricken. He ran to one side first, then to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, father, he wailed. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddy. So, here, when the boy lost in the fear, when the child could not find his parents, he started crying bitterly, and suddenly he jerked his body, he ran here and there, uh, and he was crying in fear and he was calling mother, father. Tears were coming out down from his eyes. His face has become hot and fires, and he was extremely frightened. First, he ran to one side, then to the other. Hither and thither means here and there. It means he started searching his father and mother in all the directions, and he was shouting, Father, mother, father, mother. And at the same time, his yellow turban in Hindi you can say pagri, his yellow turban came untied means open, and his clothes became muddy. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. A little distances on the green grass he could see through his filmy eyes men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the passage of the bright yellow cloth, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. So here rage means angry. So after running here and there in rage, the child stood defeated and his cries was suppressed. Right from the beginning, when the child lost his father and mother, he was crying uh, at the top of his voice, but now he started crying without shouting. It means he was sobbing, and he can see to the little distance on the grass that men and women, they were talking with one another, and they were enjoying, and he tried to see them with full attention, that my father and mother may be there, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people. And all the people who were sitting on the grass were laughing and talking each other, and the child was searching his parents. It means father and mother. So I have discussed some of the paragraphs. I hope you will understand this story, and I will explain the next paragraph in the next video. So thank you.